Okay, welcome everybody. Look at this, isn't it amazing? We are in the same room
Yeah.
and not Zoom rooms.
No, this is not Zoom rooms. I don't know if you can see out the back there, but we are actually at Shangri-La Resort in Oklahoma on Grand Lake. And yeah, that actually is a view out the back of my brother-in-law's lake home down to the lake.
Yeah, you
Where,
can't really see it very good, but
yeah, take our word for it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, nice little place to relax for the weekend. And yeah, big shout out to Ryan for letting us have it. We're going to have some fun while we're here.
we're on Monkey Island. So
Yeah.
we're gonna monkey around on Monkey Island. That's how I got invited. So
She,
Amy,
she,
his wife, invited me and my husband and said, "Hey, let's just go to Monkey Island and we can monkey around on Monkey Island."
and she jumped at the opportunity
That's right.
and said, I can do that.
Yeah. Let me
So
get
we
on
are.
that plane and here we are.
There you go. Yeah.
So you're here again with us on Brain Power Breakthroughs with Jon and LoriAnn, and we are excited to be here today. We've had some feedback on some of the things that we've been talking about, and
Yeah.
some of Jon's past clients have answered some of the questions that we've been asking. And I guess I wasn't shocked at what the answers were, but I am surprised that it's come to this, that the kids in their teens and 20s now are going through these things that he let me read last night. And I want him to be able to talk about that and see what we can do to bring it to light. We don't have all the answers, but just bringing it to light, knowing that this is something that we can have a conversation around.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, very much so. And some of the things you're going to hear from me today is going to be a repeat of what I did for Wednesday's broadcast. But I realized I was looking at the answers again, and I realized there's a lot of you out there that are struggling with the same issue and the same response. So I wanted to bring it back and give you a little bit more, because sometimes we need to hear something more than once before it sets in. I get it. I understand that totally. So I wanted to share some of that with you as well. Um, and unfortunately, some of the answers that you guys brought, I understand some of the responses were from people that live in California, and I'm sorry, California just kind of has their own set of rules.
right.
And with the income levels and the taxing levels and all the stuff out in that state. Yeah, I understand. I get it. I do. Um, there's a lot more involved in that than what I wanted to spend time on our podcast with. So if you want to talk to me directly about some of those issues in the state of California, just email me and we'll discuss them. I want to get you answers. Okay. I've got family that lives out there, friends that live out there. I can connect people with things, with places and people that they need to be connected with to get you the help that you're looking for. Okay. So let's use that as the answer for the people in California issue things with that kind of stuff. And I get that. The second part of what I wanted to go over today with you is, and again, I talked about it a little bit on Wednesday's show, but when it comes to personal relationships, the one thing that I really want you to keep in mind is that you control this. When it comes to your own personal relationships, you get to choose. No one, and I mean no one, has the authority to walk into your life and say, I'm going to be part of your inner circle, whether you like it or not. No, it doesn't work that way. You choose who you want in your inner circle. You choose who you want to have a personal relationship with. And sometimes I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes that's going to step on some people's toes. Okay. I get it. You know, someone is going to want to be a part of your inner circle so bad. You are just such a brilliant, beautiful person that this person just will go to the ends of the earth to be a part of your inner circle. It's kind of cool to have someone think of you in that way. But here's what I don't want to have happen. You tell this person, no, I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to have that kind of a relationship with you yet. And they get hissy. This is going to happen. I promise you this.
Yeah.
We've seen this, haven't we?
Yep. Yep.
Someone is going to pitch a major hissy fit, and you know the video of the kid laying on the floor face down in the middle of the grocery aisle screaming bloody murder. Hopefully they're not to that level, but somebody's going to be upset that you're going to tell them no. So you have two choices at that time. Two ways you can respond to this person that got mad because you said no to them. All right. Number one is ignore them, ghost them, walk away, think that they'll figure it out, and leave them to their own devices, and you go live your life. And that's all. That's okay. I get it. Some of you are not going to be able to give more than just that right now, and that's okay. But here's an option for you that I really want you to think about. People will respond to you better if you are much more direct in what you need from them to be a part of your inner circle, to be in that relationship with you. Okay. And I've put this list of things together with a couple of friends of mine that have books out there. One of them, a guy named Fred, wrote a book called Bold, and such a cool book. I read a lot of it, but it was such a cool book. So here's what I'm thinking: what you can do. This person that got mad because you said no, you can come back to that person and say, you know what? Look, Jon, I'm going to be honest with you. If you want to be a part of my inner circle, I'm going to need you to be a much more bolder person. You're kind of lackluster. Okay. I need to see boldness come from you. You are a much more driven person than you showed. You are a much better person than you put out. You let people walk all over you. Don't do that. Stand up, be bold. Okay. So you're giving them tools that will allow them to grow as an individual. And that's going to be a win-win for you and them. It's going to win for you because you're going to gain a really cool friend that's grown considerably. And it's going to win for them because they're going to become a person that they're going to become a better version of themselves. And that's really all we really want in this world is, we want to be with people that are the best versions of themselves.
Yeah.
I want to be the best version I can be for my wife, my kids, my friends, and my workers, for you guys. Same thing here, okay? Let them know, I want you to be more bold. I want you to stop letting people walk all over you. Your floor mat material. Stop it. Get up on your own 2 feet. Be bold and be the best version of you can be. Okay. Certain things like that are going to increase the value of that person. And I think I said something about this in Wednesday's showcase. One of the first books I read, most of you know by now that I've been a John Maxwell speaker and coach for a while. And one of John's books, one of the first books I read from him, was a book called Becoming a Person of Influence. Okay. Now, Becoming a Person of Influence is a book written for people that want to become leaders, manager. I wrote it because I was becoming a manager in the hotel industry. And it allowed me to create my managerial style and all of that kind of stuff. But the idea of the book was to teach you how to be influential to your staff, your vendors, your bosses, everyone you work with. What I realized as I was reading the book was how much it allowed me to grow as an individual, as a person, as a being. And in regards to being influential to, number one, myself, I wanted to be the most influential person I can be to me, but I also wanted to be the most influential person I could be to my kids, to my friends, to my coworkers, to my wife. And I learned a lot from that book in that aspect of it, the being influential part for me to be influential as a person. And so I strongly recommend that book, Becoming a Person of Influence by John C. Maxwell. Great book, great ideas. And you can use that with that person that wants to be in your inner circle as well. Okay. When I talk about, you let people walk all over you. An influential person does not allow that to happen. Now, they're not the ones that walk all over everybody else either. Don't do that. Don't go to the other extreme. Learn how to influence others by just being you and doing the best you can, being the best version of you can possibly be. So there's that side of it. And when you share those things with your friends that want to be part of your inner circle, I promise you, if you were to come to me and say, Jon, I would love you to be part of my inner circle, but quite frankly, buddy, you just got to stand up and you got to be more bold. I'll promise you, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to learn how to be more bold. I'm going to do what it takes to grow that as part of my influence. And you know what? That may have been the first time someone ever said that to me. We kind of go through life not knowing certain aspects that really would benefit us greatly, you know? And so if someone were to come to me, if LoriAnn were to come to me and say, Jon, you need to stop letting people walk all over you. I may have never even realized I was doing that. Some of us don't. But if I found out that's what I was being looked at as, trust me, I'm going to do some thinking. I'm going to do some changing. I'm going to do some work on myself to flip-flop that. Not that I become the person that walks all over everybody else, but that I'm going to stop allowing people to walk all over me.
Mm.
I know what it's like. I've been there. I've been told this. I'm not sharing anything with you guys that I don't already know or has been used on me, against me, or with me in my work. So learning not to allow someone to use you as a doormat. And I will tell you, sometimes the people that use you as a doormat might be your closest friends or even family members.
True.
Okay. Well, be bold. Stand up to them and say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to let you walk all over me anymore. I've got things I need to do. I've got things I want to do. I got things I want to grow into becoming a better version of myself. And the one thing I know I need to work on is not allowing others to use me as a doormat. And
Which
so,
I think that takes you right into those questions that, you received.
yeah.
So do you have some of those answers that?
Grab my phone. Hang on.
Yeah, so these are some of, we asked those questions in the last episodes. And these are some of the answers that we got about what is happening with teens and the biggest issues 20-somethings are having right now.
Come on, where you at? There you go. So one of the answers from one of my past clients. So this person wrote back that said, I think the biggest issue
Oh, let's
that,
let's go to what Katie said first.
oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So here's what the first one said. You want me to read it?
Go ahead.
Okay. The first one said, I think the biggest issue is the pressure to either be getting married and know what you are going to do with your life, or from the opposite side of it, to feel the freedom to do anything, as in explore sexuality and gender identity, or party and be getting drunk every weekend. And if you don't want to do that, you're homophobic or you're different and a prude. And I saw a picture of this girl, and she's definitely beautiful, like she could be a model. And she just chooses not to do some of those things. And so now she's being told that she's being seen as homophobic or different and a prude.
Yeah. And I think in today's society, there's a lot of things going on in today's society that is really kind of um, I don't want to say it's a war against, but these young adults are being looked at in a context of, well, if you don't see it this way, you're not worth anything. You know, that's where the word prude comes in. Okay. Well, if you don't believe in doing it this way, you're a prude. Okay. First off, one of the things that LoriAnn and I have already talked about from the book, The Four Agreements, is don't take anything personally. Okay. Stay impeccable with your word, but don't take anything personally. I will promise you, the majority of the time that someone comes at you and says, oh, if you don't believe it, and if you don't see it my way, you're this. Or if you don't agree with me, you're this. Or if you don't go with my friends and I, you're this. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, that is not a you issue. That is a them issue.
Absolutely.
The majority of the time when someone comes back at you and attacks you verbally with differentiating words, the majority of the time they can turn those words right around and point them right back at themselves, because it's more than likely things they are facing and are lashing out at you because they can't figure it out either. This is why I go back to what I said before. When someone does these things, you can ghost them and walk away, or you can lash back out at them. My version is give them tools, give them ideas that helps them become that better version of themselves. And it may be, hey, you know what? I understand where you're coming from, but you got to stop letting those people walk all over you, because that's the only reason why you feel the way you feel. Or, you know, you need to be more bold because you don't see yourself better than, I see you much better than this. So how about we take some steps together and become much more bolder individuals? In fact, let's get that book that Jon talked about, that Becoming a Person of Influence book, and let's learn how to be an influential person. You know, I mean, to me, integrity means a lot. And I mean a lot.
Right.
Be impeccable with your word. And I do not take the word integrity with lip service. Everything that I've ever done in my business world, my business life, my relationships, everything, I have put as much integrity into everything I can do with. You know, I want people to understand that if they get my word, they get my word, and they can go to the bank with it. And I've got a lot lot of people out there that'll vouch for that. Okay. So sometimes it's a matter of not lashing back out at someone, but giving them tools and saying, hey, one of the things that I was told was that I need to be a much better bold person than I am. You want to work on that with me? Let's do this together, because I think you could be a lot bolder person as well. And let's see if we can't become much more influential in our own little circles by working on being bold, not allowing people to walk all over you and I anymore.
Okay, I think that is a good answer for this one. So now the second one said, I think the biggest issue is similar to what Katie said. That was the first one, that we are supposed to rely on ourselves to decide what is right for us, to try and pursue just feeling good and what makes us happy, and that no one should be able to tell us otherwise or be unsupportive of our decisions in life. The belief that we define truth for ourselves instead of seeing truth as objective and outside of our own perceptions. I think overall, our culture has lost the real meaning of truth and love and how those work in relationships. So I think that with, a lot of times we're pushing independence on these kids, and they feel like they've got to be independent and doing all of these things on their own. And where she just said, yeah, we're being pushed to do all these things on our own, but really it's building relationships and having connections and getting more people in your circle, like what we started talking about when you very first started this, and talking about gathering, people around us that help inspire us, bring truth and light into our lives.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. Yeah, I had spent some time with a high school principal, close personal friend of mine. He is the assistant principal of one of the biggest schools in our town. And I was sharing with him my thoughts on this whole idea. And he said, John, he goes, you're absolutely right. He goes, it seems like in today's society, these young adults they're asking, they're reaching out and asking, but they're not getting any good answers. And he goes, and unfortunately, the worst answer comes from their parents. And I said, what do you mean by that, Scott? And he said, well, he goes, I consider them lawnmower parents. Lawnmower parents? I said, okay, you're going to have to explain that one to me. He says, well, here's what I see. He goes, these parents of these young adults, they don't know how to deal with them either. They're struggling to deal with these young adults as well, mainly because think about where these parents are at. Most of these parents of these young 20-year-olds, well, they're in their late 30s, early 40s. What are they doing? They're trying to create a life of their own as well. They're out there beating the grind, trying to build a business. They're out there, doing the daily grind, trying to create for their own lives. So number one, they don't understand how to deal with these young adults. Number two, they don't have time. They don't want to take the time. So this is why Scott called them lawnmower parents. This is what they do. They take their arm, they sweep everything out in front of this young adult. They hand them a key to a car and a cell phone and say, there you go. I just wiped out every obstacle in your way. All the obstacles that are in your path to go forward and live your life is gone. I just took care of them all. Here's a car, here's a phone. Now you go do you, but I got to do me. I don't have time and I don't know how to deal with you. So you go do you, I'll do me, and we'll both be fine.
Wow.
Okay, so here's the problem with that. Now you've left this young adult to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's kind of ironic. I look back at it in this context. Back when we were in school, it doesn't matter what school, high school, college, whatever, when it came time for us to figure out what we were going to do this weekend, we just went to the bulletin board at the end of the hallway. And there's these pictures and these posters and these flyers that people have posted up there that says Friday night, 7:30, you know, skating rink, yada, 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 yada. All of your social activity was planned for you. You didn't have to find it. You just need to find the end of the hallway, because everything you needed to know, wasn't it for you like that? It was
Yes.
for me.
Yeah.
Everything I needed to know. Now, mine was a little bit different. I played football. So, when I was in college, my month was structured out. But most of the time, everything's already planned for you. You just needed to go to that board and see, okay, that's where I'll be Friday. That's 7:30 at that place. Okay, cool. All right, now you're on your own. That bulletin board doesn't exist. And your mom and dad just wiped out every obstacle in your way, handed you the key of the car and a cell phone and said, go. Now what? You've got to find out where the fun is. You've got to find out where the activities are that you want to be involved in. And you have to find out who are the people involved with this activity, so you can decide whether you want to be involved with that group or not. That's a lot of work on your part.
Yeah. And lonely. That was another thing that they stated in their responses. There were some other responses.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's filled with a lot of loneliness, not knowing where to go, not knowing where to have, and that they didn't want to hang out at bars. And that was not the lifestyle a lot of these kids have. And so there's groups online that they try and do, but then you have sexual predators online. So then they don't want to meet up somewhere because they're not sure it's a real person or not. These are things that are totally, unheard of in our day when we were trying to do things. It's like, yes, those predators were out there, but it was more bold and face to face than it was, okay, now we've got this cyber bullying, we've got the cyber predators, we've got, so we know that this is an issue. What is it that, if there could be an answer to help through this, maybe even just knowing that there are so many kids in the same place that it's time to create something. It's time to create something. And so I know that there are some things that are being created right now. I have a 24-year-old son, and he said that he has been able to go into some Facebook groups and meet up with some people that are specifically enjoying motorcycles, and they will post on there when they're getting together for a motorcycle ride. And right now, one of the sweetest things that he is doing, I think it's one of the sweetest things, is they ride in funeral processions for people that are asking for motorcycles. That has been a big part of their life, is this love for motorcycles.
That's cool.
And so this group of kids and guys, they get together, and a lot of times it's the Harley guys or the big Honda motorcycles or and then there's a few kids like my son that are on those street bikes, just those little, I don't know what they call them, but anyway, more of the sport bike. So there's all kinds of ways to get involved, but he did say it's been a lonely thing for them for him to actually go through and try and find where is the best place to interact, have communication with people, go do things together as groups, or even find a way to date. It is so strange right now in trying to find a way to date. There's dating apps, and some of them have worked and some of them haven't. And, he's tried a few of them. He's been bold to say who he wants to be with. But I'm loving hearing a lot of these things, and we've been reaching out to people to try and figure out, what is it? And as we talk about this, there are ideas that are going to come to you in how you can create that place for you to bring people in, to gather people into your circle, so that you're not lonely anymore, but neither are those people that you're creating this for.
There's a lot of things out there that are put together towards common interests.
Yes.
And with social media and with the internet, we can find those things pretty easy. So if you're looking for an organization or a group of young adults to hang with, go to these group sites and look at their common interests.
Right.
And when you find one that works up with you, don't just reach out to the group. Okay. But pick someone in the group and say, hey, I want to know more about your bunch. You've got a lot of common interests that I do. I've been looking for a group to hang with, but I know there's a lot of weird stuff out there and I don't want to get hung up with the wrong group. You guys look pretty cool. Can we talk? Now, don't jump to any circles. I'm not telling you to go face to face with this person, because I know that doesn't, that's
too scary.
Too scary right out of the gate. But you can message them and say, hey, can you tell me more about your organization? I think there's some like-minded individuals in your group that I'd like to know more about and hang out with your group. Start small, work your way into it. You may find out that that's the exact group you need to be with. Like her son's motorcycle gang group that he found. Give it time though. Don't jump. A lot of
take him a while to find this common thing.
Well, a lot of us also look for the closest lowest hanging shiny thing. What's that next shining thing that's right in front of us? Take your time.
Right.
Because in taking that time, we talked about one positive step forward. Make sure that step is a really good step. Then take another positive step forward. You may just find a group that just is the perfect fit for you. And then, hey, from then on, you control it from there. Okay. So yeah, there's I appreciate everybody's responses and questions, and by all means, don't stop now. If you still got more questions, please reach out to us. We will be more than happy to bring more attention to this as we go down the road. But we appreciate everybody that did give us their input on this. We love, like we've always said, we love answering your questions. That's what we're here for. So we look forward to our next show with you guys. By all means, don't forget.
Click the button.
Subscribe. Hit the little bell. All that good stuff. Yeah. Share this video with your friends that may be in the same boat you were in before you watched this and found out all you need to do is just be a little bit more bold and don't let people step on you. You may have a friend that's in that position. Okay, share this with them. We'll help them too. But anyway, thanks for being on board with us today. Love you all. We're excited for our next opportunity to share with you guys.
And we'll probably still be together tomorrow. We'll be on the same screen again.
Probably at the same lake.
Probably at the same lake. Yeah.
All right.
And maybe we'll be able to see it a little bit better out there. I don't think it's kind of coming into view.
It's hard to tell.
And no, it's not going to come into view.
We may do something different with it tomorrow. All right, folks. Thank you again. See you next time on Brain Power Breakthrough.